Good morning, everyone. This is Nana Heron. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and this is Tangle Time Arts. And today we're going to be taking a look at two different tangles. I thought since the next 2 weeks are so hectic for me, so busy, that I would film our Tangle of the Week for weeks, I believe, 14 and 15. So we're going to take a look at two tangles in the round. I did get a bunch of Zendalas, I love working with Zendalas. So our tangles this week and next week are Gneiss and Doodah. So for this project, we're going to need our regular materials, a black pen. I'm using an Apprentice pen and a number 2 pencil, a tortillon. I also have a Sakura Pigma Graphic 1 to help fill in larger areas. I have a compass for drawing circles, and I have a white Zendala. All right, let's get started. Once you've gathered all your materials and taken a look at them, and I do love the Zendalas. Let me adjust my light a little bit. Okay. So we're going to take our compass, or if you don't have a compass, you can actually use something round like a roller tape. But I'm going to use a compass today because we need to draw several circles. And I do have it set to about 1.5 for the radius. And I pre-marked the center. I just guessed at the center. If it's important to you, you can definitely measure that. And so I'm going to draw a circle on here. Hopefully that's dark enough that you can see it. And I'm going to draw a couple of more circles. So I'm going to let this out, say, we probably want to go out to here. So that's maybe about 1/2 inch there. And I'm going to draw another circle. Like that. So we have 2 circles. And then I'm going to go a little further out, just a tiny bit. For that circle. And then I'm going to come back in again, just a little bit inside the first circle that we drew. I'm just guessing here. I'm not being too concerned about measurements. So we actually have 4 circles, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we can set our compass aside and pick up our black pen. I think we'll start right away on the inside and work our way out. So I would like to have a little, kind of like a little inside border of orbs. So I'm going to start putting those in, just making the circles all the way around the inside. If you want to compare with the end of your pen, it's maybe about 1/3 of the size of the end of my pen. And with my orbs, I like to go around 2 times. It just defines them better. Remember to rotate your Zendala tile as we go so that's more comfortable for you. And some of my orbs are a little smaller and some are larger. But it's nice to work with these happy little orbs. Or tipple, if you want to call them that, or perfs. And then just tuck the last one in there, whatever size it is. And then we're going to, once we have our orbs in there, we are going to work on the tangle called Gneiss. And it's spelled a little differently. I'm going to flip this over. So for week 14, it's nice, but it's Gneiss. Let me check. Is there a double S on that? Or is it? Yes, it is a double S. Good thing I checked. Gneiss. But it's pronounced nice. Okay. So the G is silent. Gneiss. Okay. All right. So we do have a center dot here, but the cool thing with nice is that you can start with an off center dot. So why don't we do that? And I'm just going to, you can put it anywhere in here randomly. I'm just going to go up a little, up above it a little bit. And from that point, you're just drawing lines from that point. Straight, we're just doing straight lines. Let me see how many I have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think that about does it for me. If you'd like to add more or less, that's up to you. But once we get our lines in, then we're just making a simple, I'm going to call it a V shape between each of the lines. And we're just keeping it really simple today with no variation. This is a really cool drama tangle that you can play around with. For example, your lines don't have to be straight, they could be curved, or you could do an S shape through there. Once we have our V's or our valleys in there, we're just going to draw a line from the bottom of the V to the dot that you made before. So make sure each valley has a line from the bottom to the center. Now we already have this really cool shape. At this point, I'm going to switch to my graphic one because it's a little thicker. If you don't have one, that's fine. It'll just take you a little longer to ink it in. But I'm going to switch. And here's where you can choose. A lot of people like to ink it in on the left-hand side. I kind of prefer inking in on the right-hand side. So from the point at the top, I like to ink in on the right. But if you like to do the left, by all means, go right ahead. I'm not sure that it really matters, but it's just for whatever reason, my preference. And just take your time filling this in. And rotate as you go. Take your time. Enjoy the process. Remember to breathe. And if no one's told you yet today, you're doing an amazing job. Just going to rotate and keep working through. And you'll see some of these areas are larger than others, and that's because our center was offset. And you can tell I'm going to have to probably purchase a brand new graphic one. This one's getting a little bit dry, but I think we can get through this project. As you can see, this has a lot of drama once you put in the ink. It's a lot of contrast. And I think I'm at my last one. Yay. So if you're using a regular black pen or even a pen, feel free to pause so you can finish inking in. At this point, I'm going to put the cap on my graphic one, And I am going to pick up my Apprentice pen again. And we're going to finish off nice with the last part of this tangle. And that's just filling in these, it almost looks like circles going around it, but I like to just, instead of drawing circles all the way around, I kind of do each section. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6. So I try to fill in as best as I can, the same amount of lines to give it the illusion that they are circles, but sometimes you have a little extra space and you have to fit more in. And that's again because this is off center. Because I've been experimenting with this tangle, I think I in the future would like to do another video, but with curved lines and then doing a little variation of that. However, if you would prefer just drawing the circles all the way around, feel free to do that. I know for some people, it's very important to have the same number exactly and the same spacing. All right, so we have that filled in, and as you can see, there's a lot of drama there. We will do a little bit of shading, but actually in my notes, I mean, this, you can leave it like this when you're using Gneiss in other areas. You could leave it like this, but we will, I think, add a little bit of shading when we get to the shading part. All right, now we're going to move on to our border here where we're going to do Doodah. And the first thing we're going to do is trace over this pencil line here, the circle. The inner circle, actually, the most inner circle. So we're just going over that with our black pen. And then what I like to do is kind of fill in these areas between that black line and our little orbs, just to kind of define that better. But that's optional if you like it the way it is. You do not have to fill in these little spaces. I do often take it upon myself to fill them in though. Right, made it all the way around. Oh, I want to make this one a little more rounded. Okay. And then we're just going to go over our other circles that were in pencil. We're just going to go over them with our black pen. And we'll move on to our next one. And don't get too caught up if you feel like it's not perfectly round or smooth. Once we get our tangle in there, you'll see it doesn't matter. So don't stress out. Just go with the flow. And now we're on our outer circle. Which I feel like it gets a little more challenging the further out we get. So that's just how I feel, but I think because it's a longer line actually. I feel like I'm more comfortable with the smaller circles. All right. So then for Doodah, we're going to keep it simple. And we're just really alternating lines. So I'm going to start down from this one because this is our largest one. And inside this ring here, I'm just going to draw a line, but not all the way to the other side. And then my next line starts on this second outer ring and goes towards the center, but not all the way over. Okay, so you're leaving space and you're just really alternating back and forth. So you're getting this like almost like a maze type of pattern. And you just keep going back and forth and back and forth. And we're just going to go all the way around. And there are different fun things that we can do with Doodah as well, different variations. But I'm going to save that for another video. I think it would be fun to revisit this project with variations at some point. And even though it looks very simple, you do have to be mindful to alternate. And remember, there are no mistakes in Zentangle. So if you forget to alternate, just pick up where you left off with the last one and keep on going. So once I get to this point, I'm coming closer to where we began. I'm kind of looking at my space and trying to figure out how many more I can fit in there. And it's just gonna work out. So we've gone all the way around and we've got a very maze-like pattern there. So I'm going to leave it like that because that's the very basic Doodah, but we can in the future revisit this and add some really cool variation to that pattern. At this point, I'm going to put the cap on my pen and pick up my pencil. So with Gneiss, it really doesn't need a lot of shading, but I think I will shade around these orbs. And I'm just adding a really light layer of graphite. I'm going to press a little harder so you can see better, but you don't need a lot. See. And then I think I will add a little bit of graphite in these valley areas here. Yeah, made it all the way around. I think I'm gonna leave this the way it is because it has enough drama on its own. And then for Doodah, I'm just adding graphite along this edge and also we'll do this edge. We're just keeping it very simple for this project. So we've got that edge, and then we're going to go back around here. And I have to confess, actually, I feel like shading is my favorite part. Made it all the way around there. And I think we'll also go add some graphite on the way outside. And I actually am deciding it's going to be darker on the outside. So I'm pressing a little harder on the paper. And if you don't have a Zendala, that's okay. You can do this in your sketchbook on a square tile, like an Apprentice tile. You don't have to use a Zendala. If I have Zendalas, I like to use them because I think they're really cool. But there's plenty of times where I just use my sketchbook or a square piece of computer paper or a tile. All right, we've got our graphite on there and we can switch to our tortillon. I typically like to work from the center out. And so I'm going to start with these areas here. I'm just kind of gently rubbing those and bring, oops, I forgot to add some here. Well, that's okay. We have some on our tortillon. We have enough that we can just add it without getting our pencil back out. All right, so that's that. Then we go to our next layer, which is by our happy little orbs. And we're just going around those, making sure to leave our orbs a very bright white. And I think we are back where we started. And so I'm going to leave that as is for Gneiss. Some people might like to add a little shading in the center, and you could, or you could add a little shading along each of these areas. I'm going to leave it as is. All right, now I'm going to move over to the Doodah, and I'm just going to blend out the graphite along this inner circle here. Again, we're working our way out. And you want the graphite darker towards the ink line. And lighter towards the center of the ring here. And you do that by first placing your tortillon along the ink line, going back and forth, and then pulling towards you gradually. Okay? So along the ink line and then pull it towards you. So it comes towards the center, but not fully into the center. All right, so we've gone all the way around. And then we're going to do the same thing with the next layer. Keep your tortillon along the ink line, back and forth, and then pull towards you, towards the center. So the center really is not going to have any graphite or very little. All right, I think we made it all the way around. And then that leaves just the outer layer, and we're going to go again along the ink line, but now we're going out towards the edge. And you can go all the way out to the edge, actually, because we would like these two thin rings to kind of stand out. All right, we are all the way around. How cool is that? We're basically done, and this is done in the traditional black and white with the graphite on a white tile. However, if you would like to, you could add like a gel pen if you'd like to add something sparkly, or not even sparkly, but just a little bit of color. I'm trying to see if I have, let me see if I have a gel pen handy, and we could, I'll be right back. We could add some color to that. Okay, let's see. What color would we like to go with? Maybe like a light, kind of like a light orange. Let me make sure this is working. Okay. Yeah. So I have a Wexford pen. You might choose a different color, but I'm just going to add a little bit of sparkle to the orbs. And this is optional. You can use a colored pencil if you'd like, or leave them as they were. But a lot of you know I do love my sparkly gel pens. Rotate a little bit. So I'm just adding a little bit of color to each orb, and they're not 100% filled in either. Sometimes I leave a little bit of white space there. And once they dry, they have this kind of a, I don't know if you can see, but a really nice sparkle to them. And just that little pop of color just adds some dimension to it. But that's optional. It's not necessary. And now I'm going to add my initials because I'm waiting for the gel pen to dry. So I'd like to add my initials, and you can pick anywhere you'd like. I am just going to work it into the Doodah here. I'm just going to put in an N and an H. All right. Just make sure that's dry before I flip it over. So we had week 14 was nice, and it's pronounced nice. The G is silent. And week 15 is Doodah. I always like to put my name on it and the date. This is 4/7/24. And these are the this time of tangles of the week. So we've got weeks 14 and 15. All right. I'm going to, if I get a chance, I'll do an extra video just to supplement. But it just depends on my schedule. I don't know why I scheduled myself up that way. It just happened that I'm super duper busy. And that's our project. Please take time to hold your tile up and admire it and give yourself a pat on the back because it looks really, really cool. And I especially love the drama in the center. But Doodah is one of my favorite borders because there's so many versatile things you can do with it as well. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be back when I can. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. And remember, keep tangling, and I love you guys. Bye-bye.